he sounds like remarkably together. He's certainly sober when he's doing the interview, and he reveals, I think this is the first time we've heard this, that he was actually diagnosed with bipolar disorder.
About a year ago, he says he was diagnosed and
Did
he's
we
taking
know that?
medication.
Did we know
Hold on. I think we assumed that there was something else beyond just alcoholism.
Oh, really? I didn't assume. I
think we talked
didn't even
about it.
ponder it.
No, I think we talked about it.
But that's a real diagnosis, and if he's got that under control, maybe he's got a chance. Can you play some of what I heard? He sounded really lucid, and I don't know.
A chance at what?
Give him a chance at redemption. A chance to play somewhere.
I root for the guy. For some reason, I'd love to see a comeback. I'm disappointed he didn't sign with that CFL team.
Well, I think there's still time, right? That's his only. He can't wait until the dumb XFL comes back in 2020. That'll be too late.
I've got an uncle who's bipolar, and if he's not taking the meds, he's a complete disaster.
Oh yeah, it's a legitimate.
In what way?
Just, I mean,
like erratic behavior.
I mean,
you go off the deep end.
Emails.
You disappear.
He disappears. He sends emails as a different person.
No, it is a terrifying diagnosis.
I don't know enough about it.
He changed his name and he sends emails to the family. And
what Manziel says
he just rants.
Yeah, that I guess it just leads him to the depression.
Well, his lows. But you see people like on their highs, they'll take off and they'll spend the family fortune. They'll just go on they'll just go across the country and just spend all the money. I mean, it's crazy. And then when their lows can be incredibly low. But let's hear some of Johnny.
I was self-medicating with alcohol. Like, that's what I thought was making me happy and helped me get out of that depression to a point of where I felt like I had some sense of happiness. But at the end of the day, when you wake up the next day after a night like that, a trip like that, and you wake up the next day and that's all gone, and that liquid courage or that liquid like sense of euphoria that's over you is all gone, and you're left staring at the ceiling by yourself, and you're back in that depression and back in that hole, that dark hole of sitting in a room by yourself, being super depressed, thinking about all the mistakes you've made in your life. What did that get me? Where did that get me except out of the NFL? Where did that get me? Disgraced?
His wife is a smoke show, by the way.
His wife?
He's wife or girlfriend, whatever.
I don't think he's married.
I thought he got married or was engaged, at least
Maybe.
engaged.
I don't think he's married.
It's
his fiance.
Okay. She has a smoke show.
I agree with your analysis, CB. I find him somewhat compelling, and I'm rooting for the guy. I don't know why.
I think it actually makes him, if it's legit, he's
more likable.
Yeah, if he has a legit, bipolar thing that he's been battling and he didn't even realize it. Now it's under control.
When he was doing this stuff all the time, you wanted him to fail. Now that he's failed,
he becomes more human.
He's
become
humanized.
He doesn't want a comeback story.
Exactly.
Of course. I always thought he had talent, too. He had charisma. Well, I like guys with charisma.
But by the same token, would you root for RG3 to have a successful comeback?
Yes.
Really?
Of course. I feel bad for him. I would not want to. I honestly do. And Robert's probably made $20 million. Let's say he's got $5 million left after he's paid everyone in taxes. Let's hope he does. But can you imagine if you're Robert, you're on top of the world coming out of college, Heisman Trophy winner, you have 2012, and then you're who you are right now? Like, you can't even get in the league and you're a laughingstock? Like,
both those guys have one thing in common. The Cleveland Browns.
Yes, that's the common thread.
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine?
And Heisman Trophy.
I just wouldn't want to. I just would feel like a terrible failure. I think he must be prone. If he could stave off depression, that's incredible. Because if I was Robert, I would be incredibly depressed.
What's he doing? What will he do in the offseason? Just try and work out and just try and latch on with some team?
He fired his agent. He hired a new agent.
I mean, it's over for him.
You would think he could get in a camp somewhere. You would think.
Maybe.
And then, you just have to play out of your mind. And hopefully you can be somebody's third string.
Teams don't even invite these guys. They don't invite the Kaepernicks, the RG3s, the Manziels.
The Kaepernick thing is different.
They're not going to invite
They invite people we've never heard of.
Well, because
nothing
there's also headache associated with it.
I get
Who wants that circus?
Nobody.
So Johnny created the circus. Robert created the circus. Cap, in some way, did. It's unfair, but he kind of did, and people just reacted poorly to it.
Started the kneeling movement.
Yeah, so people just don't want to deal with the headache, even though they may have talent. Cap
especially
clearly
for a second or third stringer, like for like a back of the roster type of guy. They don't
but
want
Cap
that
clearly
circus.
could still play and be a starter until proven otherwise, in my opinion. Robert is just a change of pace, backup guy, and Manziel
maybe, but the longer you're out of that mix, the harder it is to get back in.
Absolutely. What you have going for you.
Same thing for Cap.
Tommy Maddox was out of the league for like 5 years. That's like the longest stretch I can remember of anyone. and he came back and played at a pretty good level for a couple years. But that almost never happens.
Yeah,
it
never
is
happens.
like the biggest
that's the
exception ever, maybe.
Right. That's an outlier.
But that's what you have to latch on to if you're those guys.
I'm rooting for the guy. I wonder if people out there are rooting for him. If you want to chime in, 800-636-1067.
Does it make you feel sympathetic towards him?
I don't know enough about bipolar, but if that was what caused everything, because part of it to me was the guy just looked flat out arrogant. Clearly,
he also was a spoiled rich kid.
Right. I mean, you always talk about the fact that he was getting wasted when he was like 16 playing golf.
Well, these guys that grow up in country clubs.
Well, that's all he knew.
Yeah,
that's all he knew.
You know, a lot of them are boozers.